Hello and welcome back to the Give and Go. I'm your coach Reynoso here with my boy
Soltero. What's up, y'all?
World Cup qualifiers. You know where to subscribe. You know where the place to be on YouTube is when it comes to any World Cup talk. It's here with the Give and Go on the Vamos Network. Folks, we've had a lot of teams today officially qualify. There's a lot to celebrate, and let me actually start with that. Let's start with that. Let's go down the list. Officially qualified to the World Cup here in the U.S. in 2026. South Africa, Bafana. They're here. Welcome, my brothers. And we'll talk about them in a second. Qatar. Making back-to-back appearances, but for the first time in their history, genuinely qualified, right? Instead of being given automatic qualification due to being host. Qatar will be here.
Yes, sir.
England has already secured qualification as the first European team to achieve qualification to this tournament after dominating their group. Saudi Arabia will be back at the World Cup looking to surprise Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast is at the World Cup after an incredible World Cup qualification where they did not concede a single goal. And finally, Senegal has secured qualification.
Yep.
That's 6 teams that today officially qualified to the greatest tournament in the world.
Yeah. Welcome to the World Cup.
Welcome.
Some more deserving than others. Let's be completely honest. Let's get into that.
like who, man? Like who? Give me names.
I'm just the deserving one, England, of course. I think that's pretty straightforward. But a lot of the African ones, I want to let's start with South Africa. I think because that group had a lot of action today, man. A lot of action. It actually starts off with Nigeria, who were playing Benin. At the time, Benin topping the group going into this match day. It's Victor Osimhen giving Nigeria the early goal, and all of a sudden, Benin out of World Cup contention entirely. Down a goal, they could still recover, but in the other game, South Africa hosting Rwanda, they get an early goal too. They go up 1-0. And all of a sudden, it's South Africa topping the table and Nigeria sneaking in to that second place position where they had not been this entire qualifying campaign.
That's ridiculous. We mentioned the rule change or the rule update that happened just a week or two ago where results against the last place team were removed in the race to see who's the best second place team. Due to that, Nigeria, one way or another, has found a way to survive World Cup qualification. They are not officially qualified, but they finish off this cycle in 4th place, the last place available in the second place rankings with 15 total points accumulated. What a journey it's been for Nigeria. Everyone has criticized them. Everybody knows about the drama surrounding this team with the quality, the talent, the names that they have. It did make me feel good to see that once that pressure was on them, they scored 4 goals on the group leaders, Benin. And same with South Africa. The pressure was there. They had to win today. Yeah. And both teams were not forgiving in the 90 minutes played today. Credit to both sides. I think South Africa definitely deserved first place, even though they had points removed due to fielding an ineligible player at one point. They deserve first place with the way that they played this entire qualifying cycle. I'm glad that they finished there and don't have to worry about that playoff. And Nigeria, at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, they won the games that they needed to win. Luck was on their side, and they remain alive in the race to the World Cup.
Yeah, they remain alive. They're going to have to go through this convoluted playoff path. They have the players. It's always been the story with this Nigerian squad in this qualifying campaign. They have the players, and they actually showed up today. It was complete domination against Benin, who were leading the table. And that's the thing. Like, for as happy it is for Nigeria to still have a chance to qualify, Benin, who realistically just needed a draw, are all of a sudden just completely out. They're knocked out. Their dreams are dashed. And it's due to the Nigerian quality. Victor Osimhen getting 2 very good goals. That second one, he just gets big. He babies that Benin defender, heads it in. It's 2-0. Nigeria ultimately win this game comfortably, but it's at Benin's demise.
And also you could say Burkina Faso's and Niger, who both won their last games, but end up getting knocked out of the second place race, dude.
And that's but the Burkina Faso not getting in is hard.
That one, dude.
Because they practically did everything that they could have done in their qualifying campaign. I mean, they were able to tie Egypt at a certain point. I felt like they won the games that they should have absolutely won. The games against Ethiopia, the games against Guinea-Bissau. Like, I don't know if there's anything else Burkina Faso realistically could have done, and they're not even going to have a chance to go through via playoff. And it got me really thinking that, I don't know, man. I just think the World Cup would be a better place if there were more African teams. I really do think so. Like, I think there needs to be some team changes. Like, I think CONCACAF needs to get less.
Someone has to lose a spot.
I'm going to have to come out and say it. I think CONCACAF needs way less participants, and I think Africa deserves more.
Especially considering that Burkina Faso tied Nigeria on points, both with 15. Nigeria, 13 goals scored, 6 goals conceded. Burkina Faso, 13 goals scored, 7 conceded.
Damn.
And it's just that one extra goal they conceded that ends up punishing them in this situation, man.
Well, actually, this just doesn't even sit right with me, bro, because Burkina Faso, they both played the same amount of games, right? And Burkina Faso, I finished with 4 more points, right? Wow. So it's just not fair in my complete opinion. But this is the brutality of African qualifying. It's always been like this. It somehow has managed to keep its brutality even with an expanded World Cup. This is crazy. It's just one of the most even confederations out there.
And that brutality was shown in the Algeria-Uganda match with, you could say, brutal officiating. You could say brutal outcomes. Uganda going up 1-0. Getting the result that they needed for a good 70 minutes, but then having to hone in on their defense. That pressure ultimately amounts to a very controversial call where Algeria gets a penalty call. Amoura steps up, scores it. Another penalty call. Amoura steps up, scores it, and Algeria comes back to win 2-1 at home, knocking out Uganda from any potential chance of being in that second place spot. Yeah. You're a big, avid Uganda supporter. The Ugandan people know that you speak for them on this channel. What do you have to say after this result, my friend?
I thought they played great. Truly. They were on the road in Algeria. Algeria practically fielded their best team for the most part. A couple starters missing, but beyond that, this was Algeria's best squad. And Uganda, for 80 minutes, played a perfect match. They were up 1-0 for nearly the entire game. They created chances beyond getting that really good goal. It was a perfect counterattacking display. Uganda have one of the fastest counterattacks in all of Africa. I think they showed that today against a very good Algeria side. And ultimately, the first penalty, I think, was just a very controversial penalty, and that ultimately is what did Uganda in. The second one was definitely a penalty. Keeper comes out very aggressively. He hits the player first. But here's the thing. Here's the consolation here for Uganda is that even a win would not have mattered.
Yeah.
Because later on in the day, DR Congo got the result they needed at home by defeating Sudan 1-0. That result, no matter what, knocks Uganda out anyway. DR Congo booking themselves a second place playoff position.
Good point. DR Congo getting a huge victory. I'm happy about that because I've been pro DR Congo football. Basically, since we started talking about CAF World Cup qualifiers, they get the result against Sudan 1-0, whereas Senegal defeats Mauritania 4-0 to keep DR Congo from potentially getting that first place slot. Either way, Congo secures qualification into the next round. Good for them, man. Good for them. They closed it out. They got the job done. And I do think this is a very, very good team that I personally would love to see at the World Cup.
Absolutely. DR Congo getting the job done. It wasn't easy per se for Congo. They had some crazy matches against Senegal. This game against Sudan got a little hairy at times, but they stay strong. They actually end up scoring a very, very good goal that ended up being enough for them to get into the playoffs. But just to end, one quick thing on Uganda, though. They're in AFCON this year. I'm very excited to see this team. They won't be at the World Cup, but it's their first AFCON since 2019. And I think if they can play the way that they've been playing these last 4 to 6 matches, I think we're going to be a very feisty team at this upcoming AFCON.
All right, folks. So here's what's next for CAF and what to expect going into the playoff round that awaits for the 4 best second place teams. There will be no draw. It'll be based off of rankings of the FIFA rankings that come out in October, but projecting how that's going to look, Nigeria will face off against Gabon and DR Congo will face off against Cameroon. Winners of both those games will face off against each other in the final, which will then determine who goes not automatically through the World Cup, but who goes to the Interconfederation playoffs to represent the CAF region. So whoever makes it out, bro.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, the journey that they will have taken to get to the World Cup will be ridiculous because even then they'll have to face off against, potentially a feisty Bolivian side in CONMEBOL or whoever AFC ends up bringing into that tournament specifically. It's going to get very convoluted, very complicated. But at the end of the day, these teams still have their World Cup hopes remaining alive. It's just going to take a prayer to get to the World Cup.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, even with all the hard work these teams have done, only one can get through from the second place playoffs. It's ridiculous. Off of these teams,
Yeah,
though,
just off the bat.
if we go Congo, Cameroon, I think Cameroon's experience is going to somehow take over. I really do. Cameroon have been very solid throughout this qualifying campaign. Nothing dazzling per se, but DR Congo have just been inconsistent in the very heated matches. This is going to be one of those heated matches. I think Cameroon's going to use their experience to get through. And then Gabon against Nigeria. This one's, I think, very tough because Gabon have been fantastic this qualifying campaign. But can Nigeria just tap into the sheer quality that they have? That's the question.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they do. I think they do tap into it.
I think they do.
I think they do. I think we're going to see a different Nigeria side, a ruthless side, kind of like the one we saw today. And unfortunately, Gabon will have to put the performance of their lives to be able to fight against this Nigeria team. It's there. It's possible. My prediction is Nigeria, and I'm actually going to side with DR Congo and their fiery offense. Give me Wisa in the World Cup, baby. So give me Congo against Nigeria in the final. You got Nigeria against Cameroon in the final. Give me your pick. Are we both selecting Nigeria here to make it out?
If Cameroon make it, I'm going Cameroon. But if DR Congo make it against Nigeria, I'd go Nigeria.
Man, I guess I'm just going to double down on the Congo experience, man. Let's do it. Let's see it. Give me that DR Congo qualification into the Interconfederation playoff. It's open, though, for all four teams. It's wide open. Let us know if you support any of these teams because I will be praying for you. This is a crazy journey to experience in the build-up to the World Cup. I'm sorry that you're having to do this. Give your team everything because these games are going to be relentless. They're going to be high stakes. CAF ultimately does deliver when it comes to entertainment, but my God,
It does.
My God, it has been a crazy World Cup qualifying season. Ultimately, though, congratulations to Senegal, congratulations to Ivory Coast, and South Africa, who qualified today out of the region. Let's do some CONCACAF talk as we had friendlies happen in this region and World Cup qualifiers. Let's just acknowledge the friendlies, talk about the games that happened today for my beautiful Mexico, your beautiful USA, and even Canada, who ended up tying Colombia 0-0. Let's start with the Mexico match that just ended in El Estadio Akron, where Ecuador ends up finding a way, once again, brother, to get a tie in any sort of match, competitive or not competitive. It doesn't matter for them, bro. Tying Mexico 1-1 through what I would consider a controversial penalty call going their way. Mexico going up 1-0 in this game off of an Ecuador mistake, an absolute giveaway. Berterama scores his first goal for Mexico, but Ecuador ties it back up through a penalty. Then after that, really no clear opportunities for either side. 1-1 draw for both these teams. That's how the window ends for both these sides.
Not a penalty, in my opinion. Ener Valencia forgets the ball. He runs into the goalkeeper. He creates the contact. It's not a penalty. It's frustrating because they still went to VAR and still called it. I hope I never see that again. I'm going to be completely honest. I thought it was an atrocious call. But Ecuador step up. They get the goal. They equalize the game. I'm so curious to see the people's reactions now after this match because, after the Colombia, it's kind of as we predicted, people were so negative about Mexico, just saying there's excuses around this team. Aguirre is not really the guy. His style of play isn't conducive to success for Mexico. But then we get this draw against the second best team in South America. What does that mean? Well, I think it means that Mexico's style of play can lead to results like this. When I look at that first half for Mexico, they dominated Ecuador. It was absolute domination, completely outshot them. And I think if we just had better finishing, Mexico could have had 2 or 3 goals by the end of that first half. I thought this was a really good performance from Mexico. It's one that I expected against a just ultimately not completely offensive Ecuador side. Ends up being tight, and that's Ecuador. That's what they do. It's their feature. But I thought this was a good Mexico performance. It's one that we've seen them do under Aguirre. And I think the fringe players really stepped up today. I thought Quiñones had a decent game from the start. Berterama had a really good goal today. Lozano active, maybe not the best, but very, very active. And we got good performances too from players like Reyes, for example, Chavez. And this is that depth that I was talking about with Mexico that I really like to see. Aguirre not afraid to change it up. And the thing is, when the players do come in, they put in good performances. So for me, this was a great result for Mexico.
Yeah, basically agree and echo everything you just said. For me, I'm interested in the reaction because I almost feel like this result kind of doesn't matter. We are missing a lot of players. Ecuador's missing 3 key players as well. It was a pretty even fight at the end of the day. It's kind of how I thought it would go. And Mexico, I thought, impressed in the first half as well. I thought they were really good. Eric Sanchez was at the end of some really interesting opportunities where I wish he had forwards up with him, but he had to take the shot up himself. Ecuador making some mistakes in that back line in that first half. Really surprising. They did not look disciplined to start the game. Once they settled into it, the defense looked better, especially in that second half. But yeah, I just don't have much to take away here. I already talked about it in our preview of the window. With us missing some key players, there's only so much I can learn from these games. Same goes for Ecuador. And I still have the same questions for Ecuador as I have after that USA game. Exactly. Where do they get their goals from, bro? Like, truly, it came off of a controversial penalty. I agree with your take. I think it's a dumb call. It felt like I was watching a Liga MX match with it being Estadio Akron and just controversial refereeing. But for Ecuador, I really don't know where the goals come from because outside of that, there wasn't a true, clear opportunity that they generated in either this game or the USA match, man.
Yeah.
And I know that they're missing a few offensive players, but still, dude, I get so questionable about that. They got lucky today with that call. And Mexico, I think they maybe could have gotten a second or third goal. Either way, 1-1 is how it ends. I'm just ready for the next window where hopefully we have our players back. Players are healthy. Morata returns from the U20 World Cup, and we can see a more polished version of Mexico in comparison to what we're going to see at the World Cup.
Absolutely. I'm just more so, I guess, frustrated about the perception of this Mexico side because, I mean, after that Colombia, I just thought the reactions were so negative. But we already covered it when we talked about Colombia. I think Colombia is an elite team. And I think we showed how good Mexico are today by tying Ecuador, who are very, very good in South America. So I hope this result changes people's perceptions on Mexico because we completely took it to Ecuador today. And the thing is, I actually think it was almost a foreshadowing of what Mexico can do at home. That first 20 minutes, bro, if Raul Jimenez is on the pitch, we're up 3-0. And so this is what gets me excited about Mexico playing at home. I think there's a whole new type of energy that Mexico can tap into when they play on Mexican soil.
I see what you're saying. I agree with the point that with how extreme people react to Colombia, if they're going to react like that to that game, then they have to react extremely to this game too.
They have to.
You have to. If you're going to be consistent about it.
Ecuador's number 2 in CONMEBOL.
I know, technically, yeah.
Number 2 in CONMEBOL. So
yeah.
This has to be very positive reactions now if you're going to go negative with Colombia.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how people react. Let me know in the comments down below. What did you think about this game? Mexico 1-1. I'm just looking forward to the next window. I want to build off of this. I want to put the Colombia result behind us. I think they did that today because the team actually showed a very positive attitude in this match. A fire in that first half that I actually really liked. I do wish El Akron could have been sold out though. I do wish, man. I don't know what it was. They said there was the ticket prices on the commentary. I don't know if that really is why, but you do know if you have this game in the U.S., it's a sellout. And for some reason in Mexico, it can be a little unpredictable.
Frustrating. I was very sad to see the turnout. It got a little bit better as the game went on. I was just shocked to see the turnout because Mexico never play at home, and the one time they do right before the World Cup, it's not sold out.
Yeah.
Little disappointing and we're usually criticizing the team. Now I'm disappointing the fans, bro.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's just a little frustrating, but I thought from the pitch perspective, Mexico played fantastic.
USA defeats Australia 2-1 in Colorado with a Haji Wright brace to, I think, honestly solidified the best window under Pochettino as a head coach for this national team. A really great comeback victory here with the Coventry City striker continuing his form from club over into international and honestly posing the question of, is he an immediate starter for this national team? Is he a depth piece? I mean, he definitely wants to be in the conversation now with the performance that he showed today. 2 really nice finishes against this Australia team.
2 great finishes. The first one was really good midfield combination play. Roldan with a nice slip through ball. Haji Wright with a great poke finish equalizes the game, because before that, Jordan Boss with some really good improvisational dribbling in the box to surprise the U.S. and actually take Australia up 1-0. But Haji Wright equalizes, and then to start the second half, he gets on the end of a nice curved delivery on the right-hand side, drops the Australian defender, puts him on his ass, and then he curls it, giving USA the lead 2-1. We see it through. There were some shaky moments throughout this match, but we also could have had more goals too. I think at the end of the day, USA was the better side. My takeaway is actually very similar to my takeaway against Ecuador here for the USA. I loved the intensity. I absolutely love the intensity that we showed today against Australia. And not only that, getting the win I think was very, very important. I think Aiden Morris had a really big chance at the end of the game that would have put the cherry on top to give us 3 goals. Either way, we deserve to win today. And when I look at this window, this is the best window we've had since March 2024 when we won the Nations League.
Wow.
So this is promising. This is exactly, I think, what all U.S. men's national team fans were hoping for. Just 2 back-to-back good performances where every single player that played gave everything. And I think that's what we saw in both Ecuador and tonight in Australia. Just pure commitment, pure passion, pure hard work and determination from every single USA player. The result against Ecuador, great. 1-1 against one of South America's best sides. Fantastic. Now against an Australian side, which I thought we should beat, we actually won. So now USA's translating paper to pitch. Now I'm really excited for the next window in November. We'll be playing against, I think, tougher offensive opponents in Paraguay and Uruguay, for example.
Oh, yeah, Paraguay and Uruguay slated. I really liked the fact that Pulisic went down injured in this game, and the U.S. responded well to that. That was huge.
Yeah.
I didn't like that Pulisic got injured. I hope that doesn't get convoluted there. I didn't mean to say that. But I like the response. I like the response a lot because even the versions of the USA that we've seen recently, I think it would have been very likely that your leader goes down the way that he does in this game, and that immediately is like a punch to the stomach and the air is taken out of this team. But instead, it looked like everyone just kind of amplified their roles, their abilities, their responsibility, and everyone stepped up to deliver for the team. I really like that because it adds to the idea that people are playing for something now. The players are playing for something now. There's a pride in playing for the U.S. men's national team now as the tournament gets closer. That's really good. And then kind of on the same wave of extreme reactions from CONCACAF teams, pregame, a lot of people online criticizing the selection of Roldan as a starter in this game and criticizing the fact that, sure, name status might not be as high as a Weston McKennie, as a Yunus Musa, as a Christian Pulisic, but in this game, you got to respect game, bro. You got to respect results. 2 assists. And he was very, very good throughout the entire match. Dangerous time and time again. I got to give it to the guy. Even though he's in the MLS, he put on the U.S. men's national team jersey and he put in a great performance. And I just love that because he was getting criticized before even getting the chance to prove himself today. And I think that's a good sign overall for Roldan and for the rest of the team that had a very professional performance despite going down 1-0.
Yes, I'm glad you bring up Roldan. He came off the bench against South Korea in the September window. Then he gets to start in the win against Japan. He gets to start here against Australia, and he gets 2 assists. I think he's had 2 fantastic windows. If he doesn't start at the World Cup, which I don't think he should, I would rather start Aiden Morris, to be completely honest. He will be a fantastic depth piece for Pochettino going forward. Every time he plays, whether it's off the start or off the bench, he looks completely sure of himself. He's giving everything. He can do pretty much anything. He can defend and he can get involved offensively as well. I think Roldan's a great all-around midfielder that we can now use.
Yeah, and I can't say enough about Haji Wright's finishes today. I was so impressed with that first shot where he lets the ball go past his left foot. I thought he was going to take it with his left, lets it go past, and he instead has a very intense toe poke with his right foot that places it perfectly into the back of the net. And the second one drops the defender, really nice curled finish. I think at the very least, you have a depth piece now for certain in that striker position because Balogun has shown that he can be a little injury prone as of late. If he's out, Haji, that's your chance right there, bro, to take up the U.S. men's starting 9 position with what he's done so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I would still choose Balogun as the main starter, but I think kind of similar to Roldan's role, Haji immediately puts himself in the conversation as huge depth piece. Huge. If Balogun's injured, all right, it's okay. We have Wright to start. And Balogun's not scoring goals, all right, we bring Wright off the bench. Like, it's going to be fine. I think having now 2 informed strikers for the USA, what looked like we were going to have it all 6 months ago, now we have these 2 guys looking fantastic.
It looks really good. USA defeats Australia 2-1 to close off their best window in a long time. Mm-hmm. Lastly, Canada. As CONCACAF teams go undefeated today. Shout out. Canada hosting Colombia, who just beat Mexico 4-0. They come to Canada, and Canada actually held their own very well. Luis Diaz with a very big opportunity to get a goal, but it just goes wide of the post. And it's a 0-0 result in Canada, but honestly a good result, I think, for Canada to stave off this on-fire team, this on-fire offense, and to keep a clean sheet.
It's good. But in a similar way, I'm frustrated with Mexico, with people's perception of Mexico. I'm frustrated with people's perception of Canada because I think people still overhype Canada a lot.
Really?
I do think so. And we've gone through the Canada hype and we've been let down several
that's why I haven't brought them up in a while.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But if you look online, people are kind of wondering why we're not bringing up Canada as much as they think we should. And honestly, I think the reason is because simply just watch them play. Canada, in my opinion, are still a little bit inconsistent in how they approach the game. I think Jesse Marsch has gotten the best out of this Canadian side, but I still think this Canadian side's ultimately limited at the end of the day. They'll be a good side, just in the same way that Mexico will be good at the World Cup, in the same way the USA, I think, will have good World Cups. I expect Canada to have a good World Cup, but I just don't see this team doing anything above and beyond what you see on paper, to be completely honest. In this game against Colombia, they only generated 1 shot on target, and it was a shot from 25 yards out. Colombia generated 3 clear-cut chances. They finished them against Mexico. They didn't finish them the day. I think this game could have ended 2-3-0 to Colombia, to be completely honest. And also, Canada lost to Australia in the last game. So, what has ailed Canada for the last 2-3 years still ails them today. They have great players, but when you want them to really show up, Nations League, big games against Colombia, it's just not really happening for Canada. But they have great players and they'll have a good World Cup, especially with the home field advantage that we talked about in the last video. It's going to affect them in a very positive way. I just think I'm going to remain realistic about Canada. They're a good team, but I don't really see them as like a great team.
Yeah, I can really only go off of what I saw at the Gold Cup. I thought they had a very disappointing Gold Cup performance where in the group stages they tied Curaçao 1-1 and then Guatemala losing that game. Obviously, there's a red card involved in everything, but they ended up getting knocked out early in that tournament. And I feel like the whole time I always expected to see Copa America Canada, and I never really got that, man. I feel like this new version is a weaker version than what we saw peak about a year ago at the Copa America. And so, yeah, I mean, I've been keeping an eye on the results. Like I saw that they had beaten Romania. I saw they had beaten Wales. I saw that they lost to Australia. It's just, I feel like they're just a not reliable team right now. I can't really predict what's going to happen. They can play up to their opponent, like at the end of the day, how they did today against Colombia, but they can also play down to the opponent's level like they showed in the Gold Cup. So for me, until I can really take them serious, I'm going to need to see more consistency from this Canadian side. The way that I did in the build-up to the World Cup in 2022 when they were absolutely dominating CONCACAF, there was more excitement. There was a better chemistry with the team. Right now, I don't know if that is fully there yet, but we're still a good while out from the World Cup. I think there's a chance that they can gel together better going forward, and maybe a tie against Colombia is the first stepping stone towards that. That's the optimistic outlook, man.
Yeah, but I really want to stamp on the point that Canada's just not reliable. So I think expecting them to do great things at the World Cup is a huge leap to take, truly. And And not beyond the Gold Cup, through the Nations League, they got knocked out in the semifinals, and they were slated to win it. Complete disappointment for them. And the more I look at the Copa America, Peru, Chile, Venezuela were the 3 teams that they beat.
That's top elite in CONMEBOL, bro.
Literally the 3 worst teams in CONMEBOL standings. So I think Mexico could have honestly done the same thing, to be completely honest. So yeah, I just think, again, I want to reiterate, Canada's a good team, but I just want to
it's all hope, man.
I want to hold off. I want to hold off on saying they're a great team.
They literally have a player named Promise, bro. Like, come on, man. Guys, let's go to the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers, where we had some very important results. Teams trying to realize their dream, such as Suriname, who today went to Panama's house and did everything they could to get 3 points in this game. And God damn it, they got so close. They got so close to creating a gap in that first place position, but instead it's Panama who ties it in the 96th minute through a very wonky, goofy goal. That pressure ultimately ended up getting a goal for Panama. 1-1 result. Suriname couldn't get the full 3 points, but still remains in first place in this group.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. This game was crazy. Suriname go up 1-0 in the 21st minute. It was actually a beautiful goal. Geraldo Becker switching the play to the right-hand side. Cherry then provides a really nice diagonal ball on the ground, and Margaret finishes it first time. It was a gorgeous goal from Suriname. They hold on.
Yeah, they really do.
And then at the very, very death, they get done in by honestly a really nice diagonal delivery ball. Diaz finishes it. Panama get the draw at the end of the day. I think they deserved the draw. They had so much of the ball. They attacked pretty much the entire match. But Suriname could have had a second goal too. After they scored that first one, Geraldo Becker had a clear-cut opportunity to get that second goal. And I think that would have put Panama to bed, to be completely honest. But I think for me, what really sticks out, 2 things. One, Suriname's a real deal, bro.
They're real. No, absolutely.
None of this is luck.
Yeah.
None of this. They have crafted a really good team that plays very good defense on a consistent basis, and they don't score a lot of goals, but they have players that are clinical. They're almost guaranteeing themselves 1 or 2 goals a game. They've never been able to say that about this team. So that's fantastic about Suriname. And for Panama, it's almost the exact opposite, bro. If you haven't watched CONCACAF before, God, this team used to be so good. This team was peaking literally 12 months ago, peaking. And now Panama, they're struggling, man. It's actually shocking to see how much of a shadow of a team that they are based on who they were. And it's just kind of sad to see.
I see what you're saying. I agree, too, because I thought with how those first 3 games went for Panama, I thought they would look themselves in the mirror and kind of wake themselves up. Tell themselves, hey, 3 games left, starting off at home against Suriname, group leaders. Let's assert ourselves here. Come on, we've dominated CONCACAF when it comes to teams outside of Mexico and the USA, or even arguably against the USA, where they have defeated USA multiple times in the past couple of years. Let's play up to that level, boys. Let's play up to that level in front of our fans who want to see us cook, who want to see us destroy this fraudulent Suriname team. And instead, Suriname goes up 1-0, bro. Exactly. In a deserved way, bro. And in a deserved way. And what I just saw from Panama the rest of the game, yes, that pressure was good. You're right. The possession was good. But they used to be so much more deadly. They used to be so much more clinical. They didn't have to be this desperate in the past against teams of Suriname's level. And that says a lot about how much Panama has dropped. Even Christensen looks a little more lost on the sidelines, man, like body language wise, which is surprising to see. I agree. I think they've dropped down in level overall in comparison to the heights we saw them reach in the past 2-3 years. Regardless, it's enough to still be tied on points with Suriname and still have the ability to potentially be in first place in this group. So they might end up qualifying through, but it is important for people to know if this Panama team qualifies through playing the way that they do right now, the excitement around this squad won't be the same as what it could have been had they continued their form from a year ago.
That's what sucks. That's what really sucks. If Panama still somehow qualify, I'm just going to be fairly low on them. Whereas if you had asked me about Panama 8 months ago, I would have been so high on them. But that's how far they've dropped.
For Suriname, I agree, though. Real deal. There are moments where the commentators had to They like would say, this is Suriname, this is a team that's never made it to the World Cup. And I would have to remind myself, like, oh shit, it is. Like, but the way that they were so formidable and the way they approached this game was like as if they do this every 4 years.
Yeah.
So credit to them. They're in first place. Panama's in second. Ultimately, it's still a good result for Suriname getting this point away from home. But Guatemala now inserts themselves into the conversation after getting a victory at El Cuscatlán, really cementing themselves as a potential threat in this group. 5 points now, their first victory of this qualifying cycle. And El Salvador still with a chance as they have 3 points, but emotionally, I think you could see it from the players' faces after this game, losing at home to a big rival. It hurt. It hurt to see them lose this game against a Guatemala side that thankfully got the victory.
Yeah, this was a really, really tight game. El Salvador actually had a lot more of the ball than I was expecting them to have. Guatemala had to do a lot of defending. The goal that they got though was a fantastic shot from Santis. And I think Guatemala ultimately just are the more deadly side, even though they didn't have more of the ball. It's a good road win for Guatemala, one that they desperately needed. So now it gives them a chance. I mean, pretty much with how tight this group is, every single team, all 4 of them, have 2 finals awaiting them in November now.
Wow, that's a cool way to look at it. You're right. Unfortunately for El Salvador, those finals look very, very tough as they're both away from home. And Guatemala, I believe, will be playing both games at home. That's why I think I lean more towards the Guatemala side. Potentially surprising, but bro, it's going to be tough because expecting Panama or Suriname to slip up isn't a surefire thing based off of the way that we've seen them play so far. They haven't lost.
That's the thing. I think at this point, which is crazy, but I think Suriname's going to pull this off.
Oh, man.
Just the way that they've played in these past 4 matches, I think they are the best team in this group, but barely.
I think they are, man. When I look at Guatemala, even today, it was a lone opportunity they got against El Salvador. Santi's great finish, but even then, I didn't see the same high-flying, fiery offense that I saw them pose at the Gold Cup. It felt much more reserved, felt a little shy against a team that I think was definitely below them in quality in El Salvador. To expect them to beat their next opponent in Panama despite being at home, I think it's still a tough ask, bro. It's still a tough ask out of this Guatemala team. So I'm going to go Suriname and Panama go through. I think I still see Panama somehow getting first place, though.
I think I'm going to go Suriname top the group, or they finish level on points and maybe Panama have a better goal difference.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see that. Damn, so no Guatemala for either of us.
Yeah,
it just hasn't been enough, man.
I'm with you though. Even though they won today, I was very disappointed with how they won it, man. They need to play so much more aggressive. The way that we saw them play in this edition's Gold Cup, even 2 years ago in that Gold Cup, Guatemala were so aggressive, so adventurous going forward in all 4 matches in this group. It's just been a reduced version of that.
Completely agree. Curaçao ties Trinidad and Tobago 1-1 after going up 1-0 at home. And what's one of the coolest stadiums in CONCACAF, in my opinion, bro, now that I've been there a couple of times through the screen. Absolutely love the atmosphere, the crowd, those Curaçao fans, those Curaçao people as they hosted Trinidad and Tobago. And it was scenes when they went up 1-0 through a golazo actually, pinpoint placement. But then Spicer ties it in the second half to make it 1-1. Curaçao and Trinidad and Tobago share a point, which means that Curaçao now is in second place due to Jamaica defeating Bermuda 4-0.
This was a tough game for Curaçao, to be completely honest. The crowd was amazing. But after getting that win against Jamaica, this was a must-win for me at home to ensure that the destiny's in your own hands to finish first place in this group. But I think they let go of it.
That's a tough ask.
They let go of it by drawing here at home against Trinidad. And the thing is, honestly, kind of got lucky that they didn't lose this match because Trinidad had so many shots on target. Curaçao, I think, only generated the 1 shot on target, which was the goal. That was it. So this was a tough game for Curaçao, and one that gets me a little worried knowing that they still now have to play Jamaica again. If Curaçao played the same way they played against Trinidad, I just don't know if they really get the result. Hopefully they'll have enough points to finish as one of the better second placers, but I think this is a big loss of points for Curaçao to finish first.
Right, yeah. In that sense, yeah, I agree. I think they're good in that second place position because Trinidad and Tobago faces off against Jamaica next. I would like to think that Jamaica wins that game. If they don't, then it's Curaçao's golden opportunity to go back into first place as they face off against Bermuda.
Right.
But either way, that last matchup will be in Jamaica, where Curaçao has to travel and try to get the victory or try to get a point, just depending on the standings. It's still there. I just, I don't know. I think second place is a win at the end of the day for Curaçao. But yes, a lot of people, including yourself, maybe got swayed by the chance of first. But it's Curaçao at the end of the day. And kind of the same thing for Suriname, who I have finishing in second. At the end of the day, that's still a massive improvement. But yeah, part of you imagines what it would be like to avoid that stress and just go straight automatically.
A country with the population the size of Dayton, Ohio, bro.
Yeah, it is smaller than Cape Verde.
Almost pulled it off, man. But they just couldn't do it. So now I'm actually getting a little nervous for them. But yeah, they got to get the 3 points against Bermuda. And honestly, the way Trinidad play, I could see them keeping it tight against Jamaica. I think this group has a lot more left in it.
Yeah, I agree. This one's far from over. And as I mentioned earlier, we had 2 Asian teams qualify today officially, with Qatar and Saudi Arabia making it through to the World Cup. Welcome, my friends. Welcome. Both teams that ended up hosting matches in this round end up going through.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be fair, I think just what you saw on the pitch, I think the better teams did end up directly qualifying. Let's start with Qatar in front of, honestly, a beautiful home crowd that had even Joselu in the crowd enjoying the football.
That's crazy.
Big moment for Boulem Kuki. He breaks the deadlock, getting on the end of an Akram Afif set piece. Qatar goes up 1-0, and they get a second one through Pedro Miguel. They call him Roro. He gets that second goal for Qatar. UAE get one back, but it's late. It is very, very late into the match. It's consolation at the end of the day. Qatar win 2-1. But this was a very, very tight match. But overall, kind of as we previewed a couple days ago, Qatar just have a little bit more fluidity, I think, in their offense. They're just more dangerous. We saw that today. But yeah, the margins between these sides, very, very, very small.
Yeah, Akram Afif showing up when Qatar needs him most with 2 beautiful assists, 2 beautiful passes, and both header finishes. Qatar makes it through. They deserve it. I think the Qatar experience has been great these past few years. When you look at it on paper, their achievements, man, they've stood out. You would think they're a superpower in Asia, and some would argue they might be that with how they won the AFC Asian Cup most recently, but also won it last time around. Going to the World Cup in 2022 and obviously hosting it, being part of that experience, although they didn't really make a big impact on the pitch in that tournament. I feel like this is their chance to kind of make themselves known to the footballing world in terms of, Qatar can ball out. We can play. We can be a feisty team. I'm interested in that part of their narrative now that they're going to be at the World Cup here in the U.S. Can they pose a threat? Can they be a surprise against a team that many people would think would be better than them on paper? Can this Qatar team come out and show out? That's what I want to see for them because achievements-wise, it's been great so far, but I just need to see it really translate onto the pitch against teams outside of Asia.
Yeah, great point. I mean, it's a chance at redemption for Qatar since they got completely grouped when they hosted it. And honestly, it was very poor performances at the World Cup. Most of the games just weren't tight at all. So this is a chance to just have better matches. I'm not even expecting Qatar really to win anything at the World Cup. But if they can just show out, get a couple goals, keep games tighter than they did back in 2022, I think it'd be a success for Qatar. So yeah, I like that approach for them.
And then you have Saudi Arabia securing qualification with Hervé Renard being thrown up by his players, celebrated as they're back. They're back in the World Cup, and this is a team that surprised many in the world in 2022 when they defeated Argentina, the eventual champions, 2-1, as they end up tying Iraq 0-0 to secure qualification.
Yeah, I mean, the 2022 Saudi Arabia and 2026 Saudi Arabia, in my opinion, could not be more different. So I want people to, I think, recognize that this Saudi Arabia team that we're going to see at this World Cup is just nowhere near as electric, nowhere near as offensively deadly. And I think the fact that they go through with a 0-0 result is a direct reflection of this team that's going to the World Cup today. This match was as tight as it could be. really no big chances from either side. I think Iraq had one shot on target for the entire 90 minutes. Saudi Arabia, although they had 66% of possession, could really barely fluster Iraq. I think their possession and their overall control of the game is what gets them through here. So that's where I'll give Saudi Arabia credit. But throughout their entire qualifying campaign for 2026, this has been tough for Saudi Arabia. None of it has been convincing, but they do deserve it based off of the opponents that they have faced. So congratulations, Saudi Arabia. They deserve to go through based off of their performances against Indonesia and Iraq today. Yeah, it's just very, very different.
Yeah, very different. I think people need to be aware of that. I don't think this is the same type of excitement that I felt with Saudi Arabia going into 2018 and 2022. It's different. It's different. Especially, I think their defense is their best part now. I remember at the Gold Cup when they were here, that was the toughest thing. That's what they really honed in on. It didn't work against the better teams. Ultimately, they ended up scoring, got knocked out of the tournament. But I think it is their best trait. And in Asia, it felt like that's what they leaned on in these past two games, where they did just enough defensively to get what was needed out of these matches. So Saudi Arabia goes through. Yep. I'm excited. I hope that with the time that there is between now and the World Cup starting, they can just improve upon what they've already shown so far. Regardless, the teams that both Qatar and Saudi Arabia faced off against today are not officially knocked out, because it's UAE versus Iraq, who will be going to the 5th round of AFC qualification, where they'll face off against each other in November. 2 legs being played between these teams to determine who ends up going through to the next round, which will be Interconfederation playoffs as the AFC representative. So Iraq and UAE, their dream still remains alive. Give me your insight here. Who do you think will end up going through between both these teams as they end up going through to the next round in second place?
I think this is going to be insanely tight between these two. Iraq's main feature over the last 6-7 matches has really just been their defense. They actually didn't concede in any of these 2 matches. And I'm expecting another tight affair here. I'm going to give the edge to UAE simply because I expect them to have more of the ball. I expect them to be just a little bit more creative when they attack, but I'm not expecting them to get a lot of goals in this. I mean, honestly, it could be 2-0 nils. It could be 1-0 on aggregate at the end of the day, but I'm going to give the edge to the UAE.
Yeah, man, I agree. It's going to be so tight. I like the Iraq defense approach. It's good. It is good. It held off 2 solid offensive teams. I'm really worried how they get their goals now, man. Yeah. I'm really, really worried. Whereas I do know UAE will get 1 or 2. So as much as it hurts me, because if you watch the show, I'm a big Iraq fan when it comes to the AFC region. I'm worried for Graham Arnold in this situation. I have more confidence that UAE will get the goal. Give me UAE going through here, man.
Yeah.
Give me UAE going through. I do think they deserve it more at the end of the day. Having seen their entire qualification process, and Iraq, if they were just playing the way they did at the Asian Cup, I would say differently. But right now, a month from now in November, I think UAE goes through. And moving on to UEFA. Let me start with this, brother, because I'm all about headlines. I love a good headline. And today's headlines is a historic one. As CR7, Cristiano Ronaldo breaks the all-time World Cup qualification goal-scoring record by scoring 2 goals today to push him not 1 but 2 goals above, I believe, at Pescadito Ruiz, to give him the ultimate World Cup qualification goal-scoring record. 41 goals total for arguably the greatest goal scorer that this sport has seen, now putting him, I believe, 52 goals away from that monumentous 1,000-goal mark. A historic day for Cristiano Ronaldo. And just follow me here, man. Just follow me, because here's what's being said. This sentence is being uttered. It's being mumbled. But I think as the tournament gets closer, it's going to get louder and louder. Just hear me on this sentence, all right? Because it gets crazier as I add every single word to it, okay?
Okay.
Cristiano Ronaldo scores his 1,000th goal. Reset that, okay? Don't want to come out right. Let me try it again. Cristiano Ronaldo scores his 1,000th goal at the 2026 FIFA World Cup final to give Portugal. You still with me?
I'm here.
The World Cup trophy, as he retires and rides off into the sun with over 1,000 goals scored in his career. You with me? Timeline-wise, it's kind of there, bro. 52 goals, he can get there.
He's got 50 goals. He'd have to score 50, man.
He's going off in Saudi. He just
man.
needs a stat pad in Saudi right now.
That's a lot.
Score like 40 for the remainder of the season.
If this was like 2 years out, 100%, I'd actually be with you numbers wise.
So your concern is even just getting close to that.
I just think 50 is a lot in 9 months.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, and realistically, he'd need like 45 to set himself up so he could score 5 or 6 at the tournament. It is a lot.
That's a lot.
But
I like it, though. I like the idea.
Yeah.
I like the idea. It's insane. It's amazing to still see him play. I mean, every time he plays for Portugal, he's either getting an assist or a goal, still at 40 years of age. We're just repeating ourselves, giving this man praise, but it's because it's so deserved. It does not matter where he plays. If Cristiano's on the pitch, he's involved. He's impacting the game offensively.
That's my thing. Today, even seeing the goals, you can tell that it's not luck, in my opinion.
Nah.
You look at the goal. I mean, it's wide open net. But his positioning, bro, his ability to sniff out a goal, to know where to go. The moment he sees one of his players just gain a little bit of ground on the wing, he knows where that ball is going, dude. And it was 2 beautiful passes one from Nuno Mendes for that second goal, and then for the first one, I think it was Semedo who also assisted him very well. I think obviously the story for Portugal is, can they finally field a team of that level that can carry Ronaldo to a World Cup final, to a World Cup trophy? I think squad-wise, it might finally be happening for this nation, dude. And I love that narrative, and I love the idea of what if you pair that with Ronaldo scoring his 1,000th goal at the World Cup final? That'd be ridiculous.
The narrative is crazy. Imagine Cristiano scoring his 1,000th goal at the World Cup.
Yeah, even just at any point in the World Cup.
At any point in the World Cup, it'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
It'd be dope.
It is a lot of goals, though. You're right. It is a lot of goals. Portugal ends up actually tying Hungary in this game. Soboslai, my boy Soboslai, gets on the board in the 91st minute to tie it up 2-2. Hungary getting a huge point away from home here as it separates them against Ireland, who's right behind them after they defeated Armenia 1-0 today. It goes Portugal in first place with 10 points. That goal from Soboslai robbed them of the opportunity of qualifying automatically today. And Hungary remains in the race for second place.
Hungary have shown so much fight throughout this qualifying campaign. The goals are coming easily for Hungary, which honestly is kind of surprising based off of the Euro performance, but this was a really, really good comeback for Hungary at the end of the day. The ball gets through the entire defense. Soboslai's there to dunk it in. They get a really good result away from home. I think just what they've shown in these first 4 matches, I see Hungary closing this out and securing second place in the November window. Looking at the Armenia-Ireland game that happened today, Ireland get the win 1-0, but they just lack so much. The heart's there for Ireland. That's why I really like them in front of their beautiful home crowd. They really went for it, and they did secure the job on the day. But I think Hungary just have a little bit more class offensively. I think Ireland just lacked too much at the end of the day. And Armenia, honestly, aren't bad. Like, Armenia played a great game today, and if their captain didn't get a red card, they actually probably could have either tied or stolen this game in Ireland. But when I compare those two teams to Hungary just have much more offensively.
What I like about Hungary a lot is what I've seen against Portugal specifically, because I see Portugal as a World Cup contender. I really do.
Yeah.
And to see Hungary step it up in those matches and see them eye to eye, show that fearlessness that I noticed in their first matchup against Portugal, where they hosted Portugal and actually went up on them, but then ended up losing that lead. But still, in these matches against Portugal, I don't think they've caved or they've shied away from the opportunity of facing off against an elite squad on the international stage. And today, getting a tie away from home, I think really proves to me that they're the second best team in this group, and kind of brings me back that excitement I have for Hungary, being that if they are to face off against an elite squad at the World Cup, there's a chance. There's a chance they could get a win or push it to extras. It could get dramatic. Hungary poses that threat now, and that's what I like about them.
The same. I think defensively, they're definitely shaky. They're going to concede against pretty much anybody, but I'm with you. Their offense, they do not show any fear, and we've seen it twice now against Portugal. I agree. That's a very promising sign for at least entertainment.
Absolutely. And speaking of shaky defenses, Georgia ultimately ends up conceding 4 goals to Turkey, who in the past year has now beaten them 3 times in a row, kind of asserting their dominance over them. As we spoke about it yesterday, we kind of previewed the idea of this matchup and what it means for Georgia, because technically on paper, the opportunity was there to remain in the race for second place. But I think Turkey today showed why they are the better team, why Georgia is a more flawed squad, and why on the day Turkey can definitely battle it out, bro, with goals from Yildiz, Demiral, and Akgün. 4-1 victory at home. Georgia was never really in it, dude.
No.
Yeah.
No. And when we previewed this whole group, our fear for Georgia was, can their defense actually show up against good offenses? And the answer is just clearly no.
It's a clear no.
It's a clear no. The midfield's creative. It's dynamic. You have a star in Kvaratskhelia, which gives Georgia the chance to always score. And the thing is, they almost always do. That's what makes Georgia fun. But that defense is just not there at this level and will always keep them from tournaments like the World Cup.
That's the takeaway. That's the answer we got, dude. It's why I just couldn't share excitement towards this Georgia matchup against Turkey today, because a part of me just kind of knew the truth, kind of knew what was coming Georgia's way in a raucous stadium in Turkey. I mean, it was Turkey's all day, bro. So credit to Turkey, because this is a separation they need to assert themselves as a second place squad. Technically, they're behind Spain with 3-point gap, but we saw what Spain did to them in Turkey's ground. I think 100%, I'd bet a good portion of this house that Spain is going to top this group, man. They're going to top it, and Turkey's going to finish in second, which is still good for Turkey, because in the playoffs, I think they're definitely one of the favorites to be able to make it through that path.
Thing is for Turkey is when you look at the teams below them, Georgia and Bulgaria, they're just too easy for Turkey at the end of the day. So when they play Spain, they have to treat that as a must-win match. Even though second place will probably be completely secured at that point, they have to use that as practice for the playoff, because if they go in complacently into that playoff, then I get worried for Turkey. This group has just been, unfortunately, a little too easy for them for second place.
Good point. Yeah, good point. For first place, too. For Spain, it's too easy. Yeah. It's not really a test. And for Turkey as well. And congratulations to them. I mean, they did the job. It looks like it's done. Second place is theirs. But yeah, I think the playoffs will definitely pose more of a threat for them to get an idea of where they stand in Europe. We also had Spain in this group win 4-0 against Bulgaria. Only thing I want to highlight is Buzz Lightyear, Mikel Merino, 2 goals. Incredible, bro.
Every time he plays for Spain, we see Merino get a goal or 2. It's not just one, man. It's ridiculous how effective he is. I'm gonna keep saying it every time Spain play, man.
Keep an eye, bro.
Because it's so fun.
They're like I'm certain he's gonna have a moment at the World Cup, an important moment where he steps up and ends up scoring for Spain.
Yeah,
like that's gonna happen. The round of 16, if it gets tight against Colombia, it'll be Mikel Merino who breaks the deadlock.
And it's just the most Spanish thing ever to have a midfielder be your number 9. Like, it's the most Spanish thing ever. And the thing is, I think it's the best it's ever worked with Mikel Merino.
We mentioned it at the top of the show. England wins 5-0 against Latvia, securing World Cup qualification. 6 games into this cycle, 18 goals scored, 0 goals conceded, 6 straight victories. This group ultimately just not a test for England, man.
I know, no. And that's just, I feel like it's always like this when England get groups in Euro qualification, World Cup qualification. Like, their second team is never even good. So it's always easy for England. But yeah, they get the job done, man. It's what they do.
And honestly, the more notable result was Serbia coming back after being down 1-0 on 174th ranked Andorra and having a tight match for a good 50 minutes until Vlahovic broke the tie and made it 2-1. Mitrovic penalty makes it 3-1. Serbia gets a victory that they should have gotten, to stay in the race, to remain 1 point behind their rivals Albania. 2 matches remain for both these squads, but Albania has the advantage as Serbia is set to face off against England next, and Albania will be playing against Andorra.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Albania will play England in their last match day. Effectively, if either team can get a result against England, I think that would secure second place. So it's still wide open for Serbia. The question is who can play against England better?
You know how I feel, bro. I don't want the Serbian team in the fucking World Cup.
That's
man.
what I was saying.
That's if you're new to the channel. I know that might sound very disrespectful. I don't mean that, but I just have inserted a lot of faith into the Serbian national team, and when I watch them, I end up being disappointed time and time again. I think Albania is a more exciting squad. Give me Albania in the playoffs. Moving on to the last group that had action today, Italy defeats Israel 3-0 today to just remain 3 points behind Norway. And honestly, I think this window really showed a clear gap between second and third place, because Israel was initially kind of close to that second place spot, but 2 straight losses in a row now to both the top teams in this group, in Norway and Italy, has made a clear gap between second and third. Italy now on 15 points, whereas Norway is in first with 18. They are set to face off on the final match day in this group, but Italy would need a lot of help, because even if they beat Norway, the goal differential is just massive.
Yeah, but
massive.
Norway have plus 26.
And Norway's not losing to Estonia.
No.
So I think it's going to end with Norway in first, Italy in second, going to the playoffs.
Absolutely. And kind of similar for Turkey when they play Spain. When Italy play Norway, I need to see them play so much better.
Yeah.
Because Italy, yes, they're getting the job done, but let's just be honest, it's against Israel and Estonia and Moldova. And Israel have been good in this campaign. I don't want to knock Israel too much. I think this is the best Israeli team I've ever seen, actually. I think their offense has been very fluid. It's been very fun to watch. So credit for Israel for making this group at least fun. But if you're Italy, you can't have close games against Israel. So make it up and have a game against Norway. You already got killed against them once. Make up for it, man.
It was 3-0,
You got to make up for it. So if Italy want to have any sort of momentum going to the World Cup, they got to honestly get a result against Norway in that last match.
100%. I mean, the time is now for Italy, especially going into playoffs. These are must-win games. Yeah, they just got matched up with the on-fire Norway squad that I think was unforgiving in this group, and I think they deserve first place. So Norway in first, Italy in second. Let's see who they get matched up with in the playoffs and what comes for Italy, because drama could be awaiting this side.